So we got a 4x4 quad here. It is a Polaris Sportsman 500. It's got the belt driven transmission. It doesn't have the shift knob on it, so it's not going to be the shifting one. And these belt driven ones are a lot quicker than the manual shift ones, so these are the ones I prefer. But as you can see, this thing is pretty beat up. Needs a new seat cover. It actually doesn't run at the moment, but the dude said before I picked it up, like a week before he even posted it, he said he was riding it around. He ended up wanting to power wash it because it was pretty filthy. And after the power wash, it did not want to crank back up. So I'm thinking it might have lost spark, you know, if it wants to go dead right after a power wash. He was telling me that when he picked it up, you know, every time he had to start it, he had to cross the solenoid for the starter, so the button at the handlebars didn't work. So he had to use a screwdriver and jump the solenoid. Here is the battery strap. I'm actually charging the battery right now. I just gotta hook it back up. You know, ground cable needs a new connector. There's a solenoid, so he's pretty much got a screwdriver and jumped them. Looks like we're missing a wire here. Don't even know where that goes. There's a wire here. Don't know where that goes. There's also a few wires back inside there. So this is gonna be an interesting one. You know, I'm kind of going off the guy's word. It's Facebook Marketplace, so you don't really completely know if you're telling the truth. So this thing is a little beat. The speedometer says 3,076.5 and about, what was that, 333 hours. Don't know if that actually works. You know, the kill switch is pretty crusty up here. I mean, no brake, not even any fluid inside the reservoir there. So it's got the 4x4 switch here. Carburetor is not locked up with the throttle. A little bit of play in the steering. Got the choke there, and obviously the key here. So what I did notice when it was jumping it is this clutch made a lot of noise. You know, you can hear it's just sitting there turning. Don't know what that's about. We'll have to take this cover off and look further, but this thing is pretty ragged out. I got it for super cheap. He ended up posting it for like, I believe, $1,200. I think I offered him like 400 bucks. He told me to come get it. When I got there, it just looked a lot worse in person. And the photos looked a lot better than how I was seeing it when I met him. So I offered him 100 bucks and he ended up taking it. Apparently he was moving out of the house and his parents didn't want to have it sitting in his yard. So he told me to just go ahead and get it. So 100 bucks took it. Tires are pretty worn. I mean, they're a little flat. The back rack is pretty loose on that side. You got something broken over there. It's got some water in it from when he power washed it. Looks like a few tools. I don't want to reach in there, but there is a tool bag in there. I'll have to find out if there's like a drain for that. But I mean, for 100 bucks, You know, I just kind of took the gamble. There's no headlights on the, at least he has aftermarket headlights for one side. And the stock ones are pretty much out of it. There's this one here, but the lens is actually cracked. And I believe the lights don't even work. So he told me that 4x4 worked and everything. He was driving it around before I met him. At least a week before I met him, when he was riding it around before he posted it. So, I mean, we're gonna find out and see if that's true. But the oil is right here, this big old tank here. No freaking huge dipstick. It's not milky or anything. I definitely have to check that first too before I went ahead with the purchase, but it is, you know, it's black oil, so it definitely needs to be changed. That's pretty dirty. He said he probably washed it, but it's still pretty dirty. So I'm just gonna put that back in there because it's already in there. But take off the filter cover here. That's nice. Yeah, needs one for sure. Not even a filter on it. It's just the assembly there. So if this does, see, he did crank it whenever I was there. So it does crank, and the only noise knocking I was hearing was from the clutch there, because all that play inside the clutch. So the motor wasn't knocking. It sounded like it had good compression, but you really never know. This thing looks like it was pretty beat. I mean, it's missing plastics on this side. You know, the rack's busted up. Who knows if it even really moves, because he wasn't able to crank it over whenever I got there. But it all seems to be all there besides plastic pieces. When it comes to the wiring, don't really know what these are for. I might have to look up a wiring diagram if I can't figure it out. But yeah, we're gonna see. Let me get the battery put in there. See what happens. I doubt I'll be able to get it cranked over. But first thing I want to do is see if it has spark. So let me get the battery put in, see what happens. So we got the solenoid in. This is the new one here. Then that's the bad one there. I can't get that one off because the screw is just spinning inside there with the nut. So it was missing this cable here, which goes to the starter button. And then that probably stopped working because the body pretty much screws onto the frame, which grounds it. And that was all corroded. And then on here, when I put this switch on, it kind of still did the same thing. It didn't want to crank, but when I hooked up the starter button wire to this side of the solenoid, it kind of just jumped it and bypassed it and then went to the starter. But even then, it didn't have that much power. It was barely even spinning it if it did. So what we did was, I found a wiring diagram, and there was some kind of ground that needed to be grounded. And so I got this wire back here, grounded to the body that's supposed to mount to the frame. Like I said, I can't get that one off, so I just kind of got a wire, grounded it to the ground on the battery, and hooked this starter button wire back up to this red wire, which that activates the solenoid and crosses the points. So now, whenever I hit the starter button, it cranks the four-wheeler. So now we got the button to work. You know, I cleaned the contacts inside here, so everything should work inside here. Kill switch even works, so that's good. We just gotta tuck this away or find out how to get that off so we can mount it somewhere where it's not in the way. But we still have a no spark issue. So I'm gonna ground it to the body there. Oh, we have spark actually. Okay, we got spark. I don't know if that was an issue for the ground right there, but we got spark. I don't know if you've seen it. Let's see if I can focus this on there. Yep, we got spark. Very good sign. Now we can, dang. So I kind of took these plastics off for nothing. I mean, I do probably need to get to the gas tank anyways, but I try to take this whole rack off just to try to get to more of the wiring here. But I mean, since we have spark now, I don't really have to mess with the wiring. So we have spark. The button works. Spark plug, I've probably seen better days, but it's kind of sparking sporadically. I do not have a spark plug for it. So if it does start and doesn't run the best, I'll get a new spark plug for it. But we do have spark. I have not checked compression. But I guess the next thing we can do is take this carburetor out and then clean it. But first I want to see if it's even getting gas. So, and also here when I took off the cover, stupid amount of play. Like you can see all this moving. So it's gonna need a whole new clutch. The primary clutch, secondary clutch looks pretty decent, but it won't fully know until we start driving it. So that's probably gonna be super noisy whenever I turn it on, but it's all good as long as it works and runs and it's just that noise. That's fine. You know, I'll go ahead and get a new one. You can see where it was rubbing on the plastic cover. You see all this right here. So let's get this carburetor out. We got the carburetor out. It is pretty dirty. It actually was getting gas. It was kind of shooting out the tubes here. But let's go ahead and take off the bowl. See if it's venting correctly. Check the vents. See if the jets are clogged. And see where the settings are after the fuel screw. So let's go ahead and crack it open. Finally got it. The vice grips did the trick, but my vice grips, the teeth are getting pretty worn down, so it's not grabbing the best. But we got them. Kind of screwed up the screw heads a little bit, but as long as we got them off, I'm happy with that. Well, if I'm out here sweating bullets. Yeah, this part I haven't been off in a while. If any, I don't know. There's a little bit of gunk in there, but it ain't that dirty. Yeah, it looks kind of clean inside there. Check out the main jet here. That's clear. So we got that smaller jet out. That one's clear. Go and get this out. Fuel screw was about 2 3/4. Looks like the washer and O-ring is stuck in there. And then this, you know, the float, this little arm right here is stuck in there. I don't got a push pin or anything to get that out, so that's gonna have to stay in there. I mean, so far it looks pretty good. It's moving. I don't feel no gas inside there. So that's all good there. You also take this diaphragm out. See how that looks. Checking at the diaphragm. I know it's dark in here, but there's no rips in it. Looks pretty good. Yeah, diaphragm looks good. So just gonna clean it all up. Make sure everything's clean, all the passengers are clean, and then we'll throw it back together. See if we can get it to start. So I looked it up. Pilot jet is a 42.5, which is stock for this quad. I'm gonna check one more time. Yep, 42.5. And then for the main, this is actually a 142.5. So that is stock for this quad. We're gonna go with about 2 turns on the fuel screw, see what happens, because that's what stock is saying. So we're gonna throw it all back on the quad, see how she runs. All right, so I got the gas tank pulled back a little bit. So I'm gonna do the valve adjustment. Got the cover off of there. It's part of the pistons on the top of the cylinder. Inspection hole. It is pretty rusty on mine, but there is a T in there to indicate that you're on top of that center. There's like a little arrow inside the hole that'll show you. Then you want to get a filler gauge in there. We got a .006 or 15 millimeter. Loosen up those little nuts up there. Get the filler gauge in there. Tighten it up to where the filler gauge just barely hugs it. Tighten it back up. So same adjustment on all 4. So just check the clearance. All of them are in spec besides this front left one. That one was a little tight. I got it all in spec now. And you can see here, slides in, slides in. Sounds good. And the exhaust is good. So intake and exhaust is good. So the valve cover was leaking a little bit. I'm gonna go ahead and put some gasket maker on there and seal it back up. I'm just gonna go ahead and use a razor, go all the way around, get this old gasket off, and then clean it up, put the gasket maker on, put it back on the quad. The razor blades work the best. I found out to get the gaskets off. So we got the carburetor back in, got that all cleaned up, got the air box. I got a new filter in there as well. So the old filter is gone. There's no foam at all or anything. So a new filter in it. We have gas now going to the carburetor. It's got good gas flow. So we have spark. And then I do want to check this real fast, see if we got coolant. And it does look pretty dry. So I'm just gonna first see if it starts, and then we'll add coolant if we can get it to start. But we won't have neutral because these wires here are cut that go to the shifter. So it's all cut here, there's no wires going in there, so we won't have neutral. But let's see if we can get it to start. Put the choke on. So it does start, but it's idling pretty high. See if I can get the idle go down. I finally got the idle down. The cable was kind of just pulling the throttle open a little bit. But we got it at idle, so check this out. We also got to have the speedometer could be working now. High. So the clutch is super noisy. It does move just a very little bit, but it is just not grabbing. So that's slipping big time. Sounds like the motor's knocking, but it ain't. I mean, it starts up pretty good. I just don't want to run it too long to where I don't want to run it too low on coolant for too long. So, we got it to run. This does need a few more things, like an oil change. It does need, what else does it need? It needs like light bulbs, needs some headlights. See, the coolant needs to be topped off, obviously. Tires need to be aired up. Hopefully they hold air. It also needs the pull start mechanism. It's just a hole there. You don't want water getting in there and sitting in there and rusting up the flywheel if it ain't already. It does need brake lines too. I have no brakes on this thing, but it does move and it goes into gear. So that's a very good sign. Let's see. Check the oil one more time, make sure it's not milky or anything. Let's see. Yeah, the oil is just super dark. See the line for the brakes, just rusted out probably. I know a clutch for one of these, like a mother clutcher, I believe it is. They're like, what, 250 bucks? $250 to $300. That ain't too bad. The belt looks pretty decent, not cracking or anything. And I believe that's it for now. That's all I can really do to it. I gotta wait for the oil filter and for that to come in. Then we'll do an oil change on it. Wait for the clutch to come in. And I gotta order up a new cover for that as well. But order up new lights for it. I probably washed all this under here, so that's all cleaned up now. You can kind of see all the lettering on the board there, the electrical board. So hopefully the speedometer works. Hopefully the lights work if they have new bulbs. I'm pretty sure the bulbs are burnt out. It's also supposed to be 2 bulbs in the front there. And the rear bulb for the brake is probably out too. So at least she runs. She runs pretty good now. It does not smoke at all. So we in business now. Got this one running. Got this quad for $100. He had a poster for like $1,200, $1,300, and non-running condition. He said all it did was crank. $100 for this 4-wheeler. Runs and drives now. Does need a few things, but under $1,000, I have a 4x4 4-wheeler. So I do want to check the diff fluids real quick. Still don't know if 4-wheel drive works or not. Put this back here. Let's see. So there is a bolt under there, that big old bolt on the side of there. Open that up and it should be up to the threads. So I'm gonna do that real fast. It's kind of hard to get y'all in there, but I'm gonna check it out. Front diff fluid was a little bit low. It was not showing on the end of the threads there. I heard you can use like transmission fluid, ATF in it. So I'm gonna get the fluid for it too. And it's cool enough, the toolkit was actually in this little back compartment here, inside all that water. I ended up draining all of it out and it was sitting on the bottom there. So we got a few things in there, you know, some wrenches, a little Allen screw. So that's cool. But that's missing the cover right here as well, but I'm not too worried about that. Also gonna get a new seat cover. Here is the seat. Definitely needs a seat cover. I'm gonna order up one of those. The cushion is not the worst, so it'll work for now. Probably get a new headlight, like I said. New clutch cover. And then we'll put this thing back together. The transmission is also full on fluid too. There is a dipstick on the back side of here. Right here, this dipstick here. Just pull that out. We got fluid on the end of that. It's on the hatch marks too, so that is full. Rear end is good. Fluid looks pretty clean, looks pretty new. Front diff needs fluid, obviously, but she's running pretty good. No backfiring or anything. Starts right up and goes into gear. So I'm gonna order up those parts up. Should be about a week or so. If not, a couple weeks, depending on how fast I can get the parts. But yeah, next video we should have this thing being put back together and should be good. I for sure need brakes though. I might just need a whole cylinder up here. It's missing the whole screw piece. I might just get the whole thing. Goes all the way down to the main, all the way up in there, which that's gonna be a pain to get to. But we will see what we can do. So after I wanted to crank and start it up, I let it sit for a little bit, tried to start it back up again, did not want to start. So I ended up taking the carburetor off again, and that seemed to be clean. I ended up going to check the valves. They were good. Now check the compression. Compression is super low, about what, 25 to 30 psi. And then when I put some oil down the cylinder, cranked all the way back up to like 130. So this thing needs to be rebuilt. At first it cranked up pretty good and then started up pretty much first crank. Don't know what the issue is now, but yeah, compression is low. I tried putting oil down the cylinder and putting a spark plug back in and cranking it again, but just did not want to go. So not enough compression to start. So I sat here and tried. I even jumped the battery with another battery, and still nothing. So, and there was kind of an indication that the head gasket was blown too, because this is bubbling whenever I crank it. So I needed a head gasket anyways. So I'm just gonna get a whole new top end kit. I'll tear down the top end eventually and get to that, but yeah, that needs to be rebuilt. So I'll look up to see how much that is for a kit and go from there. I was gonna have a couple more cold ones and contemplate life, but let's pull this thing out and tear this mug apart. So we're gonna take off the valve cover, put it on top of dead center, take the rockers off, cam chain, cam out, take the whole top end off. We'll get the plastics off real fast, get the gas tank loose. Alright, cylinder is out, head is out, piston is out. Down to the bottom end, which is good. There's no play in the bottom end here. No back and forth, no movement. So that is all good. Here is the cylinder. Looks good. You can still see some cross hatching on it. No marks in there. There's a little mark right here on the side, but you can't feel it with your fingers, so that's all good. Cross hatching all around. Piston there, rings there. One ring was cracked. And here is the head here. That all looks good. All the valves look good. They don't look bent. It all looks clean in there. So we're gonna get the new piston, new rings, all new gaskets. Should be ready to roll. This looks to be all OEM. Obviously it says Polaris. I'm gonna go ahead and go with Wiseco. Not a Wiseco cylinder, but a Wiseco piston, as well as rings and everything else. So yeah, this thing's tore apart. Get ready for a whole new top end. Also seeing right here, the looks like to be the tip sensor. So it's all corroded in there. Cause yeah, that just comes right off. There's not even a prong for the wire to hook up to, so it needs a new temp sensor on the radiator. So it's all torn apart. Ready for new top end, so stay tuned for that. Might be a couple videos later when I get the parts in.